Hey, I'm Val,
And I'm Kate.
and we finally found a name. So we are now Guidebook Not Included, and we're really excited about this.
Yes, and it encompasses our traveling and adulting and just how there's no guidebook for life and
Yeah,
adulting, especially.
and parenting
But
either.
parenting,
Yeah.
any of it. Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about toxic environment places, and why you shouldn't force yourself to stay there, basically. Um, I can start because I have many horror stories. Like,
Go for it.
nothing awful. Well, I mean, I had bad things happening. Like, I'm clearly not dead. I'm fine. So, the first story I want to tell is when I finished university, I was still working at a paper store. Like, we sold, cards and very expensive pens. And anyway, I really liked that job, but I had my degree. So I just wanted, to start working in translation. So I applied to this place. They were looking for a secretary. It's not exactly the title, but something like that. And they wanted somebody who could translate. So I was like, hey, that's perfect, entry level job. That would be perfectly fine. And it was a web agency who did, like, I think it was Facebook applications. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, so I got hired to be the assistant and to do some translation. I worked there for 9 months, never ever did translation, not even once, not even tried to translate.
None?
I was just the assistant, basically. I'm not sure why they wanted a translator. I don't understand it. I tried to, make my career progress by becoming a project manager. It didn't really happen. Well, it kind of. I was helping the project managers, but I never got a title. But anyway, the horror stories. First, before I was a mom, before I had kid, I was like very much skinnier because you gain weight when you become a mom, which is totally fine. And so he would only hire cute ladies. And
Oh,
in the interview, he said, "Oh, I see you're engaged." And I was like, "I know he doesn't have the right to ask that."
how did he know you were engaged?
I had my ring.
Ah,
So like I just thought like, okay, he saw the ring, he just asked a question. It's not like he won't hire me because I'm engaged or anything. Because I got the job. Anyway,
yeah.
so I really suck at math. I'm really bad at finances. Like I'm just getting it together and I'm 32 years old. And at some point, he had me take over the financials. I had to call the people who owed the company money. And I had to yell at people to pay us. And I am the person who likes confrontation the least. It
Was
was
that even
awful.
part of the job description?
Not at all. Not at all. Like, my job description was to answer the phone, check the emails, schedule meetings. I had to take part of the quality testing, like making sure the app works or anything. So I had to do finances. I'm still traumatized, but I still have nightmares about that.
Because then you had to call the people
Yep.
and deal
And
with
I would be yelled at and it's like, you owe us money. And I would leave the job like, when my shift was done and I was crying in the bus. Like I hated my life and I was like, I have to do it again tomorrow. It
that
was
would be
awful.
so stressful. I don't
But
do confrontation.
oh no, I'm really bad with confrontation and that was just awful. But that's not even the worst part.
Oh God.
If only. Um, One time he called me into his office and he closed the door. He
Ooh.
took off his shirt. Yup. And he asked me to put cream on his back. But the problem is, well, there are many problems with this, but
I was like, one problem? Just one?
one of the problem is I don't like touching people and I don't like being touched at all. Like when we're close, I don't mind, but like people sometimes they put your hand on your shoulder when they talk to you. It's like that. It's really hard for me to not be like, you
Don't
know,
touch me.
don't touch me. But anyway, so he asked me to put cream on his back. So I did it like I was doing it with my finger, just like, oh my God, I'm gonna be raped in here. That's what's gonna happen. I'm
That
gonna
is
be
like
raped.
such harassment. Oh my gosh.
And it like at first what am I supposed to say? Like
Well,
again,
when
I
you're
don't
young, you were like straight out of college, right?
straight out
Like,
of college. So I was like,
what right do you have? Like, what voice do you have? Like,
I was maybe 21,
you
22.
have backup jobs.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it was like my first not customer service job, like not working in a store. So I didn't say anything and I just did it. But when I came back to my desk, my friend who was sitting next to me, she just looked at me and she's like, you look like someone who has seen a ghost. And I was like, I put cream on his back. And she got so angry. She went to his office and said how inappropriate that was. And he said, but she didn't say anything. Yeah, that if your boss asks you to do that, turn around, go home. Just
And
don't do it.
report him and quit.
Just quit. Just you do not have to go through stuff like that. There are horrible employers out there, but there are also really better ones, you know? I have many
I
other
guess the
horror
big thing is
stories.
just not feeling trapped. Like, I know, like, for me, I'm always like, well, what would I do
Yeah.
with my jobs where I've been like, well, what would I do if I quit? Like, I don't want to be without the paycheck. Like, how
Yeah.
will this look on my resume? Like, how do I explain this to my new job? And so I think about all those what ifs, and then I just keep staying in the situation, which is
Yeah.
horrible. But
I'm also pretty sure he asked me to lie on forms, like nothing illegal, but I'm pretty sure I had to lie on forms, and I'm still surprised I'd never been called to court or anything about that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at some point if there's a lawsuit against this guy. I
a sexual
decided to,
harassment claim or something against him.
well, I was gonna do it. Like, I was gonna complain to the, how do you call this, the labor law, labor
Yeah, like
act
the
or
H
something.
or the
Well, we had no
the
HR.
HR
We
and all
were
that
like
stuff.
10 employees at most.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just like the labor laws.
Yeah. Anyway,
Because did he own the company?
Yep.
Like, this was like, so he had no oversight. Like,
Nope.
he could do whatever he wanted.
He could. Basically, he could. And when I decided to quit was when he asked me to clean the urinals. Like, I'm sorry, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I definitely did not take this job to clean urinals. I have a degree. I want to work in translation, and right now, this is hell. I worked there for 9 months, and you know how you said, like, you don't want to quit because you don't have another job. What are you going to say? I ended up quitting. I did not care if I was going to lose my apartment I couldn't stay there anymore. Like, my mental health is way more important, and my safety too. Like, if he called me once to put cream on his back in his office with the door closed, what else can he do? You know? This
It's
is
like a trial.
terrifying.
It's like a scene, like what he can get away with.
Yeah.
So then it's just gonna escalate from there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's nothing wrong with quitting when it's a toxic environment. You know, like, I really got lucky
You're
because,
worth so much more.
oh my God, yes. Like, there's so many other jobs out there. I would have gone back to working in a grocery store rather than stay there. And like, the pay wasn't even great. So I had no reason to stay. And I got lucky because I handed my 2 weeks, how do you call this? Like, two weeks notice to say that I was gonna quit. And so I had to train my replacement, and she was obviously a very cute girl. And this time I added in the job description that she has to take care of financials, so it wouldn't be a surprise. Because obviously it was going to be a girl, by the way. It couldn't be a guy.
She had to do her what?
Huh?
What did you have her do? Or what did you say?
I wrote in the job description that she was going to do financials.
Oh, like calling people and stuff.
Yeah, so the girl who
You
took the
weren't told
job,
that.
I wasn't told. It was nowhere on my employment contract, you know? And if it would have been, I wouldn't have taken the job, because nope. talking on the phone is not for me. Um, but yeah, I ended up quitting, and I got lucky because I had applied like to many places, and I actually got a job in translation after that. And I was an actual translator. I was a project coordinator for a translation company, and I had to translate. So, you
Are
know,
you happy there?
when a door closes, another opens. That's exactly what happened there.
A much better one, hopefully.
Much better. I mean, it can be worse than having to put cream on your boss's back, but it wasn't great either. But yeah, I can elaborate if you want, or if you do have stories.
Go for it, whatever.
Okay.
I mean,
I had this job. I really liked it at first. Um, Basically, my boss, I was like, I would love to have him as an English teacher in school, because he was an author. He published a book and he was writing the second one. And so yeah, I really liked him at first, but then I got pregnant. Yes, we were gonna try, but we absolutely didn't know that a week after trying I would be pregnant. Like, I stopped the pill, didn't get my period, and I was pregnant. And I had been there for only 6 months, so I was really nervous because it was my first pregnancy. No, not true. I had an abortion before that, but it was my first, like, I was gonna go through with it. And so I didn't know, like, will I have to get an abortion? Like, what if there's something wrong and I can't keep it? Because I wanted to wean off the how do you call that? The pills that when you take the pill to not get pregnant. I
yeah,
wanted
like
to,
the birth
like,
control.
the birth control. Thank you. I wanted to, like, get it out of my system before getting pregnant. And again, I wasn't expecting getting pregnant immediately.
Right then.
So yeah. So anyway, I was pregnant and I had just worked there for 6 months. And when I told my boss, the whole work environment changed. He
Oh
thought
shit.
I was getting pregnant to piss him off, because that's how it works. Like,
Oh yeah, of course
I'm
that's
gonna
why you
raise the
got
kid
pregnant.
forever. And I
Just to
can
piss you
tell
off.
you that when I made the baby, I was not thinking of you. Just saying. Like, he made my life living hell, basically. And I had trouble with my first, with when I was pregnant with Mary, because I had thyroid problems. So I was
Mm-hmm.
extremely tired. But before they found out that I had problems, like, I would still have to go to work and I was dying, kind of. Like, I was just extremely exhausted and I was not even 3 months pregnant. And yeah, and when I came back from my leave, I got pregnant again. Well, not immediately, but like a few months later, because I got pregnant when Mary was 10 months old, and
Wow.
I had got back to work when she was, I think she was 4 months old when I started working again. So, like, I came back for another 6 months and then I got pregnant again. Again, we wanted another one. We didn't expect him to catch on so quickly. I don't know why we weren't expecting it, because it clearly worked with Mary. But anyway, so I actually filed a complaint to the Labor Act department thing, but I never got through with it because they said, well, we have to call him to tell him the situation. But it's like, my desk is here, his desk is right behind me. I cannot have you talk to him about that. So it was just like, like, petty comments, like, oh, she got this job so she can get knocked up. It's like, well, you hired me. I'm in my 20s. I'm married. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna have kids.
Like, did
So
this guy have other women working in his office?
yeah, we were all young women in our 20s to 30s, maybe. Like, his wife was the accountant, and she was working here. Like,
He
she
was
was
married too, and he still acted like that.
Yeah, and he has a kid. But, like, I was like, did you make your kid to piss off your boss?
Yeah, right.
Like,
That's
I
what I would
don't.
have been like. When you had a kid, is that why?
Yeah. And anyway, so when I was going to go back to this place, they offered me less hours. Like, I was gonna work, instead of doing the regular 40 hours a week, I was gonna do like 15 to 20. But, like, I had bills to pay. Your dog is really loving today. That's adorable.
He's been playing fetch and he's been growling at me because his styrofoam container's empty. He's licking because
Oh,
he's mad. Like
yeah,
right
poor
now, he's
thing.
licking because he's angry at me. So he's licking because he's angry.
But yeah, so they were offering me less hours, and during my maternity leave, well, I stayed on leave for 10 months with Liam, but no, 11 months. Anyway, less
You
than
got
a
11
year.
months at least?
Oh, we can have 18 months, but if you do
That's gonna
take
be a whole
18,
call too.
oh yeah, we're gonna talk about this another time. But yes, I could go. I wanted to go up to a year, but I missed my sanity and I missed talking to adult people and not, you know, just talking to a baby all day and say, don't do this, don't do that. Anyway, so they were gonna take me again. Like they were gonna take me back from my leave, but with barely any hours, and it is pretty much a 40 hours. Uh,
Is that illegal to do it based on the pregnant? Like to
sure,
treat
it's
you
not
different based
legal.
on?
They wanted me to sign an agreement, and I was like, you know what, I'm no thanks. So at first I was very frustrated because I really loved the girls I was working with. Like I had a great time working with these girls, and we you know, when you're like 5 employees working in an office, you become really close. So
Mm-hmm.
I was really sad because I know I was going to lose them. But at the same time, I'm like, nope. Because I wanted to have 4 kids before I got Liam. Then I got a surgery. That's another whole story. But after Liam, I was like, I cannot have 2 of them, like 2 more Liams. So anyway, but at that point, I didn't know I didn't want kids anymore. Well, I didn't want more kids. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I cannot handle like getting pregnant again and going through all of the harassment again. And so I ended up finding my job where I work now. I've been there for over 4 years now, and I'm never leaving this place
You haven't
ever.
had to put cream on anyone's back?
Nobody has ever asked me to. Oh, and I have a not full circle, sorry, but when I was working at the other place, where I was a project coordinator in translation, I at some point I got a tattoo on my back and it was really itchy. So one of my friends said, like, do you want me to put cream on it? And I was like, oh my god, it would be like the best thing. And while she put cream on it, I remembered the incident with my other boss, and I turned around because technically speaking, I was her superior. And I turned around like mortified, like, oh my God, I'm doing the same thing, because she knew that story. And she was like, girl, I offered you, and I can't hear you complain about your tattoo being itchy anymore. Let me put the cream on. But like, I remember being mortified that, oh my God, I'm turning into him. But no, like it was an open space and we were girls. Like I was not hitting on her or anything.
Shut the door and take your shot.
Yeah. But like I'm sure if I reminded her that story, she would laugh at me again and say like, I offered you and I just couldn't handle your whining about the itchiness anymore. But yeah,
I
anyway.
wonder how many like men have to face any situations like this ever. You know, like what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like when you think about like the toxic work situations, like I mean, these ones are like strongly women based. Like that's just crazy that like the men in power just. But that's interesting too. I mean, it's not just a American men thing. It's
No, not at all. It's here
like,
too. And like I think honestly one of the reasons I love my job that I have right now so much is because my boss is a woman. Like
she gets it.
yeah, she gets it. Huh?
You haven't had to deal with that type of
No,
harassment.
not at all. And like even if she would ask me to put cream on her back for some reason, I wouldn't feel like threatened or anything because she wouldn't close the door.
That's just
Yeah.
oh,
It was
that guy sounds sleazy.
it was awful. And it's like I have so many other stories. Like I worked for 3 years at a grocery store when I finished high school, because remember here high school finishes at 16 years old.
Oh yeah.
And like at some point when I had been working there for a while, I go to my locker and my lock has been cut. And I'm like, what happened? Like do you think I stole anything? And I stormed the manager's office, and he was like, oh, it's because we cut the wrong one. Okay, but you owe me a lock. No, we're allowed to open your locker anytime. It's like, but I don't mind if you open it. Ask me, I will open it. I don't, like, how dare you? You know?
Yeah, and then they just wouldn't give you a new lock.
Mm-hmm. I even complained to because we had a union at this place, and I even complained there. Never did anything about it. But yeah.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I've been talking a lot. Do you have any stories?
Let's see. I'm trying to think now. I haven't had any as crazy as that. I don't know how, like, I've just had crazy work jobs, but more just like not feeling appreciated in my jobs. Like, I mean, there was one like I started getting more and more able to like stand up for myself, and my brother or my husband and I were gonna ask off work we hadn't taken off work all year, never took off work, and we asked off for my brother's college graduation, and it was like the last 2 days of school, so we would have to miss. And we already had our own subs planned. We like had it all organized, like subs knew what to do. And then my boss was like, oh, sorry, you guys can't have those days off. And I was like, wait, why can't we have the days off? Like, we get paid. It's not even paid time off. It's just, we're taking the pay cut for those 2 days. We already have our subs. And they're like, well, you're not allowed to take off the last 2 days of the school year. I'm like, says who? And then I was like, it's for my brother's graduation. Like, I was like, and I finally was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to be there. So see ya. And he's like, well, if you don't show up, then you're not going to have a job. And I said, that's fine. I have a college degree and a master's. I'll go find a job somewhere else. I was like,
you tell him.
And the guy was kind of like, I was like, see ya. I was like, you won't have us for summer camp. Like, bye. And the guy was just like, he like called James later, not me. He called James later and was like, I feel like we like got off on the wrong foot. And he was like, I feel like that just ended really badly. And because then James sent out this whole email and he was like, I will literally tell all my parents that I work with that this is supposed to be a like family oriented company. And my wife's not allowed to go see her brother's graduation because they can't have 2 days off. And we finally just were just like, and then they gave us our 2 days and they're like, oh, sorry, we didn't understand the circumstances. We didn't know why you guys were needing off. I'm like, no. I was like, we haven't asked off at all. Sickness, nothing. I was like, I'm going to go. So we kind of towed the line between being vocal and being respectful. But it was kind of that like standing up for ourselves because we had dealt with stuff for the last 5 years with them. I mean, I had times where like I had been working for 4 years for them. I think maybe it was like 3 years. And I found out from one of the guys working summer camp was making like $2 more than me. And I was like, he just started working and he's making $2 more an hour than me. And they're like, oh, well, that's because that's like the new higher rate. And I was like, so can I quit and then just like I was like, yeah, they're like, that's like the new rate that we're hiring people at. And I was like, so I've been working here 3 years and I'm making $2 less than him. I was like, so do I just need to like quit and then reapply so I can get paid what he was getting paid? And they're like, oh, well, like, and they just kind of hemmed and hawed around it. I was just like, this is crap. And then they told me I couldn't get a raise until I raised more money for the organization. And they were like, well, we base your raises based on how much you raise in our fundraisers. And so if you haven't been raising very much money for the fundraisers, then you can't get a raise. And I was like, so is it a donation or is it a bribe to get more money? Like, right? do I need to
that's not ethical at all.
And I was like, I don't think you can base my pay based on how well I fundraise. And it's not even a fundraising job. It's not like it was like a fundraising job. It was just as an employee there, we were expected to fundraise. There's my dog's tail. He's just
I was like, oh, there's something on her shirt. Okay.
That's my dog's tail. Yeah, like it wasn't like a fundraising job. They're like, well, that's part of your job description is that you have to participate in fundraisers. And I was like, I'll help fundraise if I can get parents to donate. But I was like, I don't think you can base my pay off that. So I let some of my parents know. They were like, your pay is based on this? And I'm like, yep. And they're like, I don't think they can do that. I was like,
I'm pretty sure they can't.
I was like, I don't think you can tell me that I can't get a raise unless I raise more money. I was like, that would be bribery and not a
It
donation.
is. It is entirely bribery. What the
Yeah.
hell?
So they're like, yeah, so you can't get a raise. And I was like, this is bogus. And then that same company would, during the fundraisers, they were like, every penny counts. Like, we want everyone to donate. Like, every penny counts. So I was like, all right, well, I think I donated like $2 or $5. I was so pissed at the company. I was like, I'm not going to donate shit. So I got a sticker that said I donated. And then my friend donated, I think $5. I donated 2 and she donated 5. And she wanted to get the sticker, or there was a ribbon. Mm-hmm. She went up to go ask them for the ribbon that said like I donated or something. And they're like, oh, you can't get the ribbon unless you donate at least $10. She's like, I gave you $5 and I can't get a friggin' ribbon. And they're like, no,
even your dog doesn't approve.
Right? They're like, no, you can't like, you need like more than $5 in order to get the ribbon that says I donated. And she was like, so what are you gonna do with my $5? She's like, so my $5 doesn't matter to you? Nope. And they're like, no. And so they kept pounding me at my work then. They would come by and they're like, we still need you to donate at least like $10 or something. And I was like, no. And they were like, well, like that's kind of part of your job description. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna like, you can't keep pounding me to like give you money. And so they were like, and I finally was like, look, my coworker donated money. They said anything counts. She donated $5. They said she didn't earn enough to give a ribbon, a freaking 5-cent ribbon that you guys get in bulk. And I said, if you guys don't respect her and her donation enough, I'm not going to give you any of my money. And they never hounded me again for it. The lady was just like, okay, that makes sense. And then she like let it go. But yeah, there was just lots of little things that company did that was just like
shady.
And I didn't really realize it at the time, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But that was that job, which was, I worked there for a long time until James and I got new jobs and moved to Colorado. But there were parts of it that were fine. But I always dealt with like the really bad situations, like my coworker or my boss. This is just my ranting on the boss. What? What do you want? You don't like this conversation? You can go hang out with James. I don't know what he wants. He's being very grumpy. We had a situation happen at camp, and I called my boss, and I was like, "What do I do?" And I wasn't the program director. Like there was a program director, and then there was like the director designee. That wasn't me. That was my coworker. And so I was like, I was just simply a $10 an hour counselor. And so I called her. I was like, this is what's up. And she's like, okay, like let me like write up something, like I'll talk to like the parent or something, and we'll like, she did something where like suspended a kid. Anyways, it turned into this whole thing. Like the next day she was like, well, did you suspend the other kid that was involved? And I said, no. I was like, it's not my job to suspend him. And they're like, well, the mom came this morning to drop her off, and since you never called her yesterday to tell her daughter couldn't be there, I had to send her home this morning, and I told her that my counselor would be calling her later to explain why. And I was like, you are the director, and you just told a parent that your counselor is going to be calling you later to explain why her daughter can't come? But that's your job as the director, not mine. So she was just like, I was like, you could have told her in the 5 seconds she was standing there at your table too. Like you didn't need to like, because I got there and she like handed me the phone number and was like, here you go, you need to like go make the call now. And I was like, I'm not even a director or director designee. I was like, it was literally one of those adult in the room. You are the adult in this situation. Like I am the $10 an hour counselor. Like this is, and she was just like, oh man, she was so mad at me. And so then later, I was sitting there and she like called me up to her table during lunch and was like, here, you need to sign this. And I was like, what is this? And she was like, it's a write-up slip for like not doing your job and calling the parent when you were supposed to. And I was like, you're writing me up for that? And I was like, I called her today when you told me to. And she's like, yeah, but you were supposed to call her yesterday, so you weren't doing your duties. And so here's a write-up. And I was like, oh no. So I think I signed my name, and then I said, I cussed at her. And then I went and sat back down. And so then she came by my table later and was like, as soon as you're done eating lunch, you can leave. And I was like, you don't want me to finish my day at work? And she's like, no. She's like, not with that attitude and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, if I walk out, I'm not coming back tomorrow. And she was like, you're going to quit? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to quit because you're not playing fair right here. And she was just like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, I don't need this job. I was like, I will go find something else. And so she got all mad and like called my boss. her boss, and I sat down with him the next day. He sat down with me and was like all ready to like rant into me, and I like literally like stopped him before he could say anything, and I laid it all out for him, and he was just like, oh, I guess you're right. He was like, yeah, like he's like, I'll take her form and we're not gonna like file it or anything. He's like, there won't be any like discipline on you. He was like, that wasn't your job or role, like all that stuff. And I was just like starting to like speak up for myself in little ways, but it was just like, that's the most jumbled story ever. But it was just the most like not like, there were so many things that just weren't right in the ways that things are run in that organization, and that people like just got away with it year after year. And I was just like, I'm not gonna keep putting up with this. So then I was like, I got my new job as a teacher, and I was so excited. And my boss was like, I should have known. My first red flag was like during the interview, she was like, I need you to be back for these like first days of training. And I said, okay, I'll have to like double check with my other work to make sure I can like get off those days, because technically I'm still employed by them until the end of the summer. And she was like, well, this is your job now, so it's important that you're there. Like, this is your priority now. And I was just like, little red flag right there. I was like, yep. But I should have thought about it, but I didn't. So then my whole first year, oh my gosh, she made my life hell. Like, I and so many other teachers, and it was just, I had to take the praxis exam to become a teacher, and I had to be involved in this teacher program by. She was like, if you're not involved in this teacher program, accepted in the teacher program by January, I'm going to open up your position for new hire in May, because we have to open up for like qualified new hires. And I was like, well, I already took the praxis. I already passed in October. And I said, I'm already in the program. I just have to like wait for them to email me back. And she's like, oh, you're just waiting for them to email you? And I said, yeah, like I've already done everything I need to do. Like, quit trying to like push me out of here. And so she was like, oh, well, okay. But there was another teacher that had been doing the same thing. She'd been working there for 2 years without passing her praxis. And I was like, but she was going to hassle me about it. And I think it was because she thought I was going to be on her side, and I'm not. And I think she thought she would be able to like manipulate me. And I was like, no. But she like called me into her office during my lunch hour and was like, we heard you've been really stressed out, and we saw someone showed me a screenshot on Facebook that you said that you were like stressed. And I was like, what post are you talking about? And she was like, well, there was this one about your little girl crying, and you walked around with her, and you guys had both cried that day, and then you bonded with her. And I'm like, yeah, like it was a real life kindergarten teacher moment where it was like her and I was the only one that could calm down this 5-year-old, and we both needed to walk outside, and we like were connecting. And she was like, well, you can't post this on Facebook. And I said, why not? And she was like, well, you can't post that you're stressed out at work, because it makes me look bad, and it makes your coworkers look bad, because it means that you're stressed and we're not helping you. And I was like, she's like, so if the school board member sees this, then you could be in trouble. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to post whatever I want on Facebook. I didn't name names. I didn't say people weren't helping me. I legit was a real teacher in a real moment saying I'm stressed. And I said, that is every teacher's reality. And so, oh my God, I was just like following in her office, and it was just like, and then I had to go back to my kids, and my kids are like wondering why I was crying. I didn't get a lunch break that day because I was getting yelled at for my Facebook post. And it was just like that year after year. But now I have an amazing principal, an amazing support staff, and so much better environment. I miss my little ones, but the environment that you're in is like night or day. I literally I would go into my school and just feel heavy. Like, I didn't believe in energies first. I started believing in energies after that year. Like, I would go and it would just feel so heavy. And then I would go into my husband's school and I could breathe. Like, I was just like, oh, like I can breathe here. Like, it doesn't feel, and I mean, there's still the heaviness in the air with being like stressed, but there's not
for sure.
There's not just that overwhelming energy. Like, it was just, yeah, I'm in a much better, like, I have a principal that I can talk to and I can go to, and it's so night or day, like how much harder employees will work if they feel respected and heard. And like if you treat your workers like a person and like an individual and not like someone that you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
yeah, that's the mentality of at my job right now. It's like if we treat our employees properly, they will want to come to work and they will want to do, a good
yeah.
job. And that simple, really simple culture change is like the best thing that happened to me, Like I didn't know that it was possible to be okay with getting up in the morning to go to work and not like stress in the like I'm not saying my job is perfect. Of course there are bad days and
Well, but
there
now
are
you're
good
not
days.
stressing out of terror of your employees or
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and like just
there's normal work stress.
yes, exactly. Like it's okay to be stressed on a day to day. Well, I mean, as long as it's not too much, and like, it's definitely not perfect, but at least I'm not just a number. Like, our the VP of our office just messaged us on Friday that they wanted to do a TikTok compilation video with like all the employees in the office. I was like, and our VP actually danced, and I was like, where do you find that? Nowhere. Just treat your employees like human beings. Treat them with respect, and they will bring their best,
Mm-hmm.
because they will care about this place. Anyway, I
Well, and
can't
it's
say
like
it's
you get to the point where you're working. I'm working on the thing where I'm like working to not. I'm working to do my job, not get fired. Like where you're not like
yes,
terrified of just getting fired every day.
yes,
And so you're
exactly.
just, and that's where I was at before. I was just like, well, my first job was just not feeling valued. My second job was feeling like I was watching my step and watching my back every
Mm-hmm.
step. And then this one, it's just like, I mean, I'm part of the team and I'm not like working to not get fired. I mean, I am because I have to have the students' test results have to be good and all that
Yeah,
stuff. So you
yeah,
feel
of
like you're
course.
still like trying not to get fired, but like it's not because like someone's out to get you.
And just the fact that going to work without the mindset that, oh my God, I'm going to work, like, kill me, please. Just that makes a whole difference in your mental health, in your day-to-day life, and even on the long term. Like, it's not worth it to stay at somewhere that it's toxic. The company that I worked at where I had to put cream on the back of my boss, um, I think it's dead now. Everybody quit. I
Wow.
know that one of my friends stayed there for a long time. Like, I think he quit like last year. And I mean like 2020, because, it's now last year. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everybody quit after I left because everybody was like, what is this place? It's just, it doesn't make sense. And like, he made us a little room in okay, so the office was under a bank. So he rented the office space under the bank because they weren't using it. And there were like a lot of small rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had worked there for months and I had never even noticed that there was a room there. Anyway, that was now our resting spot. And one day I was sitting on the couch, like just talking with the others, and the boss said, huh, I remember when I had sex with this girl on that couch, and I was like, I need to burn all of my clothes now. Why in the world did you have sex there? Did you not change the fabric that's on it? Why would you bring it to the office? Why am I sitting on it? Like, this is gross. This is like,
The fact
how
that he
can,
wanted to just like brag and tell about it.
yeah, absolutely. He wanted to brag about that, like all the ladies he's been with and whatever, but it's like, ew,
How
I
did he even
wanted,
get into this position? Oh my gosh.
it's like, when you're fresh out of school and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna take over the marketplace, the working market. I just can't remember the job market. There you go. And you take the first job that takes you, and it's like, don't, just quit. If you have a bad feeling, if you're miserable going to work, there is no like, I absolutely understand that you do have bills to pay. Like, let's say I didn't like my job right now. I couldn't quit because I'm a single mom. I still have to, pay my bills. But
Mhm.
you can always find something else. Somebody else will hire you. And like, when I had my interview with where I am right now, I told them that story. And I said, like, it's not because I want to trash talk. It's because, to me, it's extremely important that the work cultures fits with my value, like with my own personal values. Like, treat me fairly, I will work great. Like, just don't treat me like shit.
Mhm.
So,
And they probably respected that too.
yep, absolutely. And I even told them the story about the fact that I think I had to lie on some forms, and they were like, well, you were against it, because I said that I was against it to the boss, and he wanted me to fill them anyway, and who was I to like not do what he asked me to? But they were like, we really like your honesty about that, and the fact that you tried to step up, you ended up leaving because it was not a good fit for you. There's so many other workplaces where they could even recognize your talent, and you wouldn't be like stuck on an entry level job for the rest of your life. Like, bigger companies that sometimes have, opportunities to, I don't know, take better position. Like, I know at my job, they open the positions like for the employees first, I think. I don't work in HR, so I have no idea. But I think that like any employee is allowed to apply on a job if they want to, and they will be considered.
Mhm.
So there is no reason to stay at a toxic environment. Like, your life, your mental health is
It's
much more important.
You only
Yeah.
get this one. I mean, you can't, yeah, like you can't live your life for that job
No,
and
not at all.
have it take away your sanity. And
Yeah, and even just finding a job where, I'm sorry, the work-life balance works. Because, like, okay, with COVID right now, well, I'm working from home. I've been working from home since March. And I told my boss, like, this, like, it was really great already with the work-life balance. But the fact that I don't have to go downtown Montreal anymore, it's just amazing. Like, I live literally 2 minutes away from school. So when I'm done working, I have a 2 minutes walk. No, drive. It's maybe 5 minutes walk. But I like, this is a new like way of working that is really great for the work-life balance. And
are they
it
gonna let you like stay in it, do you think?
I'm pretty like I really hope so, but it looks like we're good, because I don't talk on the phone. Like, I don't need to be at the office. There is no reason for me to be at the office. Like, if someone calls me, it's because they had the wrong extension.
Mhm.
Like, nobody calls me.
Do everything. I mean, I think that's what a lot of companies are realizing, like how productive their employees are, like
Yeah,
at home and like the comfort of their home and stuff too. And like,
yeah, and even like the weeks where I don't have my kids, like, there is literally no distraction. Like, I'm working in my PJs or in sweatpants, and like, I don't have to worry about my hair, because like right now I try to do something, but usually it's in a bun, the messy bun that makes me look like goofy. But like, I don't have to, because as much as I miss my coworkers, because I really really do miss like going for a coffee with them, just taking a
mhm.
coffee break together at the cafeteria. But at the same time, like, I'm so productive at home, and when I have my kids, I know I don't have to like take the bus for an hour, stress out like if there's traffic, or if on snow days, because we get a lot of snow here. On snow days, like, I don't care if the school is closed, I don't care if it's open, it's right there. It's literally 3 streets away, like,
Mhm.
yeah, 3 blocks away. So yeah, like, there is always a better opportunity out there for you. So never stay in a toxic environment.
Find something that
Find
fits.
something else. Like, and the thing that I have to say about having been in toxic environments is that exactly I learned to step up for myself, which I never thought I would. Because
I think
like,
we're often taught as like women to just kind of sit back and
yep,
take it.
yep. And like that time where he asked me to now take care of washing the urinals, I said, nope, no thank you, no sir, not gonna happen. And like he was angry at me, but I couldn't care less. Like I
Does he
am
not have
not.
custodians or anyone to like? You shouldn't even have to go to the men's bathroom anyway. So it's like,
Yeah. And like, even, I mean, the ladies' bathroom, I wouldn't have been as much like,
but you're not a bathroom cleaner. Like, I mean, that's not like you're.
yeah, like I get it. There's nothing wrong with doing it, but it's literally not my job. Like anyone, like, why are you asking me specifically? Because I'm less important because I'm an assistant? Like, or we could just like take turns. Even taking turns, I would still hate washing urinals. It really grosses me out.
Well, how many men work there?
4.
Like, why wouldn't you just have the men clean the urinals and the women clean the
Thank you.
women's
That's
bathroom?
my other point. Like,
If you're gonna have your workers clean instead of having like a custodian, then have the men clean.
yeah,
Be on a
because
schedule
like,
for cleaning the men's bathroom and the women's bathroom.
yeah, because like, we had a small kitchen area, and when we had clients over, I would take care of cleaning it. But I didn't mind because he told me it wasn't my task. Like when there's, make coffee when there are clients. I don't care. I'm gonna make you coffee. I'm gonna make one for myself. But like cleaning the urinals, not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
that's not your job.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, there's always something better somewhere. Don't stay in a toxic relationship. What am I saying? A toxic work environment.
And for me,
Just
it's like
because you're
so
stupid.
easy to say it, but when I'm actually in the situation, like I get so nervous to actually leave. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, now I'm hopefully in this position for a long time and I don't have to worry about that. But it's just, I mean, I guess I did sort of leave. I mean, I got the transfer and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's easier to said than done, but it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially now, like my kids are getting older, and some days, unfortunately, they're gonna be teenagers. I'm so not ready for that. And like, that's what I want to try to teach them. Like, you have to be respectful. Like, if you act respectfully and the other person isn't, they look like fools. You maintain your dignity and your integrity. But like, I don't want them to be staying at a job for years. Like, I remember my sister when she started working, because my sister is 6 years younger than me. When she started working in a grocery store, she would do like crazy hours. Like, she was a cashier and she was working 12 hours a day. And she would have like a 30 minutes break. That's it.
Jeez.
And I was like, legally, it's not okay. It's absolutely not okay. And she didn't stand up for herself. And it would drive me crazy because I was like, just leave. Don't stay there. Like, you hate your life right now. Just quit. Like, get something else, especially like a job like a grocery store, like a minimum wage job. You're going to find another one for sure. There are many stores, many restaurants, many anything else. So, my throat is itchy again.
Like it's just like it's hard in the moment to
Yeah.
realize like what rights you have and like what ability you have to stand up for yourself with it.
Yeah, that's important for me too. Like raising my kids to stand up for themselves, not only in school but in life in general. Like, but again, be respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have the voice. Use it
yeah,
respectfully.
yeah. Even if you really feel like punching the other person, maybe don't.
That was one of the things I had to work with at my other job. Was just like respectfully challenging my boss, but also like staying respectful, but also standing up for myself. And I felt like I wasn't being respectful just because I had always been so timid and quiet.
Same.
And so I think that's kind of how when my superior then came and talked to me, like I think he was just so surprised to hear me standing up for myself because usually, say with both of them, they were just always used to me being so quiet and timid. And so when I did stand up, they were like, oh, like she's passionate about this, and this is something she's actually like digging her heels in and standing up for in this one. Because that normally, I'm not usually confrontational. So when I was like not refusing to I wasn't just rolling over and being like, okay, whatever. Then they were kind of like, I think they kind of respected that and were shocked by it. Like, oh, like I didn't expect that. She is serious about this. And so.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I was extremely shy. Like I'm an introvert who is not that shy. Like in social situation, I can get by now, but I used to be so shy and so like trying to please everyone and just like be super nice and never say no and like, trying to help as much as I could. And there's a lot of people who take advantage of that. Like if they know you won't talk back or you won't disagree or you won't, you know what I mean, they will take advantage of that. And this is when it becomes toxic because it affects you. And it's so hard when you're shy and when you're not confrontational. It's so hard to like get over it and say no. And it's okay to say no. Please say no sometimes. Like it's okay to say no. Like your life is more important than anything else. Yeah,
I agree.
So I think that covers it pretty much.
Such a good. Don't stay in the bad environments. Look for another job. Know your rights. Know your worth.
Yeah, know your rights. You do have rights. I will. When we'll post this, I'll put it in the show notes or something like that. But like I know in Quebec we have I think it's called the labor board, something like that. But you can file complaints, and they are there to help you. And
we have some unions. Well, I know we have some teachers unions, and there's some other.
But I'm sure you have like labor laws.
There's the labor laws and all that stuff. Yeah, and like you have to have like an hour break, and you have to have this, or you can't ask someone to put cream on your back. Like we have.
You cannot do that. Oh, don't do that. Like don't be an ass. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like sometimes they don't like doing the paperwork. Like, because I had one where I was tempted to report one of my coworkers, and my principal I was working for at the time was like, well, I guess if you think it was that bad and you want to report him, you can, and you'll just have to like do all the paperwork for it. And
wow, way to make you feel bad.
Like, right? I was just like, okay, well, screw it. I'll just keep working with him and make like keep my distance. But she's like, and you have to make sure you keep working well with him because otherwise our school won't run smoothly. And I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, she was just like, I mean, you can report if you want to, but it's gonna be extra paperwork on our part. And I was like,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that brings me to another point before we finish. We talked a lot about bosses with the, authority situation, but also if it's a coworker, like if something is making your environment toxic and making your life hell, basically, it's okay to speak up. It's okay to say something. Like if your boss doesn't do anything, there are other, like if you have an HR department, contact HR. You shouldn't stay in a situation in which you are not comfortable, because it's not worth it. Like your life is more important than a job. Like, I know we all need a job, but your life is still more important than that.
Yeah.
So
I kept sticking around when that dude was working there, but
yeah,
he charmed everyone else, so they were all like, "Oh, he's so sweet." Nope. No. Yeah, that was no. I'm so glad that one is over and done with tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have nightmares about Cream Guy again. Oh, and a funny story while I'm thinking of it. When I started working at the other place after, on my birthday, like I had my kid, I went back to work, and like a month later was my birthday, and I had to walk about 10 to 15 minutes to go to the bus. And on my birthday, I walked to the bus after work, and who do I meet on the street? Cream Guy. Yep. And he's like, oh my God, Val, you gained so much weight. What happened to you? I had a kid. 4 months ago, I had a kid. Well, 5 months at that point. Like, how much of a jerk can you be?
That's how you greet someone?
Yep. See, he's an ass. He's an awful person.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I hope you, no, I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope karma comes to get him.
I'm sure I'm going to remember so many other bad stories. I only worked there for 9 months, and I swear to God, it felt like 300 years. Yeah.
And that's like a whole year of your life. It's like 9 months of your life that gets controlled by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
as much as it's easier to say it, it's good to
I know
leave.
It's hard.
It's so hard when you're in the situation, but leave. Or get something lined up before you leave, but be working to get it lined up.
Yeah.
Yes, jobs. This is why one day I'm excited to eventually hopefully have just an independent business with my own boss.
Someday.
I mean, I'm like in my position right now, I'm happy, but someday down the road, working for myself and my social media.
Yeah, that's a great life goal. Like, working for yourself, it's a dream. Like, if it works, man, go for it.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm happy where I'm working. So
yeah.
I don't dread it too much.
I still admire you for being a teacher, like, and talking to people all the time.
Yeah. Starting tomorrow. I get my kids back tomorrow.
Oh, true. Yeah. Oh my God, we're Monday tomorrow. Yay.
So exhausted. Goodness, getting right back into the groove of things. So we have an amazing group, and they're very patient, very understanding. So
good. That's gonna be fun.
They're fun. We'll have a blast. I try and remember that whenever I dread going to work, because my kiddos are excited to see me. They were emailing me over Christmas break. We can't wait to see you again. Like,
did they have school last week or not at all? You just started.
They did a work week because of COVID. They took an extra week for a work week, and so.
Okay, because last week I had my kids and they had school.
They were supposed to, and most of the other school districts did. Our school just.
Oh, okay, they chose not to.
For some reason, decided on.
Well, I kind of wish they hadn't. Well, I mean, I like the fact that they spoke with their friends on. They use Teams, and so they spoke with their friends, and their teachers told them like, oh, next week we're gonna talk about this and that, and they had a few things to prepare, but I'm working from home, and I had to have them do schoolwork as well. And I remind you that they are in kindergarten and first grade, so they are not exactly calm and independent. So last week, like, I'm looking forward to working this week in complete silence, or just like listening to music. But like, no, mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, I want a snack. Mommy, Liam pushed me. No, she pushed me first. Oh my God, I love them. Like, I love them to the moon and back. But yeah, last week was a bit chaotic. But anyway,
I'm sure silence is nice.
Oh yeah, with my
at times.
hot cup of coffee, it's gonna be great.
Nice.
So I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I think so. Just hope no one from my job finds this and then fires me.
Yeah.
Well, my current job won't care.
Yeah.
My old jobs will come back and be like, what are you talking
about? Red flags, that's what I'm talking about, girl.
Red flags. I did not name any businesses or people.
So this was fun.
Yes, and then we'll brainstorm a topic for next week and
yes,
keep the content coming.
So all right, so I guess that covers it. Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
I need to stop this. I'm gonna get it.